The story this time is titled The Incident. Released in 2014 with a runtime of 100 minutes, or about 1 hour and 40 minutes, this film sparks incredible curiosity. What would it feel like to be trapped on a road for 35 years? And before we start, may you and your family always be healthy and happy. The film opens by showing a house in 2014. Alongside toys, there is also a hamster. All of this takes place in the home of a small family that is about to go on a trip. The eldest child, Daniel, cares deeply for his younger sister, Camila. Although now they live with their stepfather, a man named Roberto, things are not exactly smooth. Roberto has a hard time getting along with the two children. Daniel often keeps to himself, playing with his little cards at home. The distance between Roberto and the children is clear, prompting Sandra, his wife, to keep encouraging him, especially now that they are on their way to visit Daniel and Camila's biological father. They begin their journey. Camila is busy with her doll, while Daniel is absorbed in his headset. It is estimated that they will arrive in 4 hours after traveling hundreds of kilometers. It's now 3 p.m. The road is quiet, and everything seems fine, until Sandra, while doing her nails, notices something strange. Out of nowhere, a piece of bamboo appears on Roberto's seat. It's unclear where it came from, but Roberto quickly throws it out. Time passes. They drive on, passing a billboard that no one really notices. Then Daniel and Camila ask to stop and rest. Roberto pulls into a gas station. Disaster strikes when Roberto, trying to be kind and closer to Camila, gives her some lemon juice, unaware that Camila is allergic to it. Sandra explodes in anger. Camila's allergy could trigger a severe asthma attack. Not long after, Camila begins to have trouble breathing. Roberto drives fast, trying to find a pharmacy. Unfortunately, Camila's inhaler, kept by Roberto, falls, and not only falls but gets completely ruined. The only option now is to return to the previous gas station to buy a new inhaler. It's now 4:30 p.m. and the journey is clearly delayed. Eventually, they reach the same gas station. The time is now 5 p.m. Oddly, they're still passing the same billboard and the same straight road, with no other cars in sight but theirs. Camila's worsening condition adds to the rising panic. Daniel blames Roberto for not knowing the road, while Roberto remains silent, listening to Camila struggle to breathe. And again, they pass the same gas station. This time, the convenience store is completely empty, abandoned. Items and a uniform labeled Hugo are all that remain. Sandra and Roberto take some items without permission, realizing things are becoming too strange. They now aim to find a different landmark, but the road, surrounded only by trees, grows ever more unsettling. A heated argument erupts. Roberto is accused of being lost. Daniel almost decides to walk off on his own. Roberto confesses that he's taken this road for decades, and it has never changed since 1980. Still curious, he tries again, only to pass the same billboard. Again, he turns around. It's now 7 p.m. Camila has managed to hold on this far, but what's baffling is that the sun still shines as if it were noon. Sandra, having had enough, demands to be let out with the kids. Roberto keeps driving alone, searching for answers. After 2 hours, by 9 p.m., he returns with no progress. They all begin to realize they are trapped on the same road. Time moves forward, but the place remains unchanged. Over and over, they try, but they always end up on the same stretch of road, as if it were endless. They pass the same billboard dozens of times. What began as a happy trip has turned into deep regret. Roberto decides to step away from the road. Sandra takes the wheel, hoping for a different outcome. But it doesn't matter who drives. They are already trapped. By midnight, it's still bright. Daniel exits the car, carrying Camila. They're all deeply frustrated and mentally drained. Incredibly, theirs is the only car still visible on the road. Sandra decides to stop again at the gas station, this time not just to pass by, but to enter. She hopes to find someone. But again, there is no one. Daniel and Camila fall asleep on the road, a dangerous thing, but oddly safe now. Time passes. Roberto appears again from the side of the road. A vast area stretches out where there should be an exit, but there's none. He weeps from the absurdity of it all. Sandra, meanwhile, returns to the same billboard. And from that day on, the family becomes trapped on the same road for 35 years. Yes, 35 years. You can see the evidence in the chaos scattered along the road, a road that has become their home. Each day, Roberto and Sandra repeat the same routine. The car rocking becomes their only exercise. There is no more sunset. For 35 years, sunlight never fades. Eventually, Camila dies, 10 years into their entrapment. Only her inhaler remains, duplicated endlessly from the first day like all other items. Daniel, now grown, still clings to his little cards. He still feels like a child because he has had no new experiences since that day. Sandra is now old and ill. With no access to healthcare, she has deteriorated badly. They've tried everything from the convenience store. They no longer ask, "What does this taste like?" Sometimes, Roberto carries Sandra out just to show her the surroundings. Then, the day closes with the car rocking once again, his only form of movement. Daniel's life, after losing Camila, feels empty. And today, Roberto receives tragic news. Sandra has passed away, leaving only him and Daniel. Daniel, who was working out at the time, hears the car and Roberto arrives to deliver the news. Daniel is overcome with emotion as Roberto buries Sandra next to Camila. Now, both women rest together. Suddenly, Roberto suffers an intense headache, as if this is the end for him. And then he remembers something that explains it all. He tells Daniel the truth. It all began 70 years ago, when Roberto was 7. A teacher took him and a friend to a lake. The teacher, already cursed, knew he had been trapped on a train for 35 years, passing the curse from his own parents. He took Roberto and his friend to continue the curse. One person would be chosen as the victim, the other as the successor. The teacher pretended to fall and pushed Roberto's friend. Not long after, the friend died. Roberto picked up a piece of bamboo as a keepsake. From that moment, Roberto was trapped at the lake for 35 years until the teacher died. Now Roberto carried the curse forward. He knew from the start that another would have to become the next successor. Eventually, he found that person, Daniel. And then Roberto dies. The grave count rises to 3. Daniel, now aware that he is the next bearer of the curse, prepares to face what lies ahead. Then, something strange. A police car appears, parked with no one inside. This signifies Daniel's new role as a police officer. But first, he retrieves his pet hamster, still alive after all this time, as if it too is immortal. He burns the uniforms labeled Hugo, but leaves some behind to start a new life. Inside the police car is a full uniform set and a book explaining the curse. How the book changed hands is a mystery, but Daniel doesn't question it. He prepares to leave the road behind. There's no other way. The curse must continue, though not in the same place. The only witness to it all is the hamster, now roaming free. Time passes, and Daniel lives his new life as a police officer. The ending shows the other traps used before: a highway, a lake, a railway. And finally, the one Daniel will face: an escalator. What would it be like to be trapped on an escalator? The film ends. It's a pity the origin of the curse is never fully explained, but who knows? Maybe there will be a sequel telling Daniel's story on the escalator.